Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's City of Onkaparinga Council meeting for the 21st of January 2025, so our first meeting for the year. We have no apologies, no leave of absence, and we will begin with inviting all the elected members, if you'd like to stand and join with me to say our pledge. We recognise the city's considerable natural and cultural heritage, including thousands of years of traditional ownership by Ghana, and the more recent contribution from people either born here or who have migrated here. As we meet together, we build on this heritage by respecting and listening to each other, thinking clearly, being receptive to new ideas, seeking honestly and deciding wisely for the current and future well-being of those we serve. Thanks, everyone, and Happy New Year to you all. We have our first item of business, which is our confirmation of the minutes. Councillor Eaton. Thank you. And sorry, I lost somebody there. Councillor Brooks.
Yes, I just wanted to speak to it, please.
Sure. Are you seconding the motion, or are you?
I'm happy to second it.
Okay, go ahead.
Definitely. I just wanted to correct the reasoning stated for my absence mentioned in the last December 24 meeting. At the meeting, it was stated I was watching a concert with my kids. While I value music, I can assure the Chamber and my constituents I would not personally book an engagement when I'm due to be representing my residents in the Chamber at a council meeting. Although I extended my reasoning for being absent before the meeting through a phone call and email, I'd like the public record to be correct. At the same time the meeting occurred, I was lucky enough to experience my oldest daughter graduating primary school. The celebration was an intimate affair where only parents were allowed, no other children, and Ross and I had the pleasure to see our daughter complete her biggest educational accomplishment yet. As few events in life are a one-off, seeing my little girl be celebrated for her school achievements over the last 7 years will be a moment I will cherish forever. It's also my understanding that I missed an opportunity to complete a midterm review and address the Chamber in a confidential manner. While I have completed part of these expectations, I would also like to state that I'm more than happy to address the Chamber later in the evening to fulfil any desires of the administration or of the Mayor. Thank you.
Do I have, Councillor Eaton, did you wish to speak? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you very much. We have no adjourned business, and the next item, no leaves of absence, and the Mayor's report. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'll move as written, and I will call the minute silence in respect to Conlon.
Right, let's pass the motion, and then we'll have a minute. Yes, thank you so much. Councillor Thimiolitis.
I would like to second the motion. Is the wording for the minute silence in?
So we can now come to that. Can I add to that? So I'm going to invite Councillor Eaton. Oh, do you want to speak now? Sorry,
yes,
I apologise.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
Minute silence?
You can speak to that, and then I'll invite Councillor Eaton to come back to lead us into the minute silence.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I wanted to acknowledge the passing of Trevor Conlon, along with my co-councillor Jeff Eaton. Trevor was a fierce advocate and leader in Coromandel Valley. A lot of people recognise Trevor from being involved in so many of the groups down there, the National Trust, the Community Centre, along with our sporting clubs. Trevor was the type of person who was everywhere and knew everything. He advocated really hard for issues in relation to Coromandel Valley. He worked alongside Jeff Eaton and myself. A lot of residents who I've spoke to over the Christmas period who've slowly found out, because along with me, I wasn't aware that Trevor was unwell, and I wouldn't have been aware because Trevor was still working and still doing everything he usually does in the community. A lot of residents mentioned to me the great sadness and loss they're going to feel because Trevor was just so knowledgeable of the local area. So Trevor and to his family, I want to send my thoughts to you from our council and thank Trevor for all his work that he's done in our community.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Eaton, would you like to close the debate, and then we will lead us into our minute silence?
Yes, look, I think Trevor certainly was a very active person who hadn't been well for a while. I used to catch up with him every Saturday, once a month, every Saturday, and quite a lot of other things. He was also very active in the resilience programs that we were running through that area with Cherry Gardens. and because of his country fire service background, but his passion was there in the heritage, and he really had a passion for it and a long family connection with the Coromandel Valley area. So look, I'd like to move the minute silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I can invite councillors to stand. Thank you. And if I could ask Councillor Themilotis and Councillor Eaton to pass on our thoughts to his family and friends and to the community groups, particularly the CFS at Coromandel Valley, that would be terrific. Yes, and so can we carry this motion now? So all those in favour for the Mayor's report? Against? The motion's carried. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Councillor Eaton.
Yes. Unfortunately, today is the 4th anniversary of the death of a country fire service member, Louise Jane Hinks from Happy Valley CFS. Louise was responding to the fires in the southeast that occurred 4 years ago, and unfortunately a tree fell down and she was killed as a consequence of that. I'm not asking for a minute's silence because we did do it previously, but it's just noting the recognition that it's the 4th anniversary and it falls today. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. And we really do pay our respects to everyone who's so busy with fires at this time of year, the CFS, and there's a number of people who serve in this chamber who are keeping us safe during this summer period. And I just thank you all for your service as well. We have no presentations or deputations this evening. And so our first item from committees, which is page 21, if anyone's following electronically, is the Australia Day Awards Committee. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, look, I'll move as written. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Davis. I'll second it. Thank you very much. Any just to speak to the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. We're getting to that time of the year. Looking forward to it. The next is the reports of officers, and this section begins on page 25. Do I have a mover for this item, please? Councillor Themilotis.
Yes, happy to move and just briefly thank staff for this was part of one of my notices of motion, bringing this all together. I know there's more efficiencies that we will find as we go along in this journey. We've set a strong strong standing of where this council is going, and I hope we can continue on together on this journey.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Greaves.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to second it.
Do you wish to speak? Any further speakers? Councillor Themilotis, do you wish to close? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Item 9.2. The proposal to commence revocation. Councillor Pritchard.
Happy to move as written.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
No.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bell.
I'm happy to second.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, I just recognise, well, I should say yes, just for not no. Just to acknowledge the work that Council of Staff have done so far, and obviously recognising that there will be a consultation period and process as expected. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers? Councillor Pritchard, just to close. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 9.3, is there an update here? for this item?
Through you, Mayor, a number of questions were asked in relation to this matter and they've been responded to and updates provided in members' folders.
Thank you very much. So for those of you who did ask questions, and if you haven't had a chance to look, they are in your folders on your desks. Do I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Platten.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move the motion as written.
And do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, please. I would. So after speaking to Harry and taking on his concerns, I was buoyed by the fact that Harry had the opportunity to sit down with Renew SA in Minister Picton's office and have a conversation about his concerns. Certainly were my concerns around privacy. And so Renew SA has come back with a response in writing that indicates that there will only be single-storey houses put on the boundary and that those houses will be sold privately, indicating that they won't be sold to Housing Trust. They certainly were my two major concerns. And so at this point in time, given that this is a land revocation, I'm happy to proceed.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'll second it.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
No.
Are there any further speakers? Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you. I'll speak to this, please. I'm just going to speak because I feel like I need to be a little bit of a voice for the residents, especially Harry, who's here, and also the other residents who signed the petition and put their thoughts into the your say. I think this motion's been really hard to decide on the way of, to support the land revocation, the changing of the community land classification, or to sort of, push to leave it as be. The community sentiment of the houses around the community land is that they really want it to stay as community land because they have to now have houses on their boundary. I think it's great that Renewal SA took the time to come here and speak to us and hear the main concerns of those residents, and they've tried to address it as best they can by the housing allotments and the envelope that they've got special contingencies on that land that will be sold on that boundary. So I just really wanted to stand up and say, yeah, this did have quite a large amount of community sentiment against it. And it previously was supposed to be land that was going to be sport, rec and racing. We're going to develop it as a sporting field. So some people there do feel a bit blindsided by what's happened. And I just really hope that the outcome for the residents is not too detrimental on their mental health and the area in which they live.
Thank you. No further speakers. Councillor Patton, do you wish to close? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Item 9.4, elected member attendance at the ALGA General Assembly in 2025. So this is page 69 electronically. Councillor Fisher.
Yeah, I'll move the motion.
Have you got a number that you're going to put in?
3 and going with recommendation 2. 3 members to attend.
3 councillors.
3 councillors.
So that's kind of, I'll just get you to look up above at the,
Okay,
so is satisfied what you can read
Yep.
now? Okay, great.
And option 1 and 2. So we're just talking about the purpose and recommendation on page whatever. So
69.
yeah, I'm supporting
His
councillors attending.
Yes.
And deleting that council do not approve.
That's what, can you sit up on the screen? This is what it currently is. Yep. Okay. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Elected members, elected council members attending a national conference gain invaluable insights and knowledge that can significantly enhance their governance capabilities and contribute to their personal development. These gatherings provide opportunities for networking, allow members to connect with peers, share best practices and learn from successful initiatives implemented in other regions. We also have access to expert-led workshops and sessions that address pressing issues, equipping them with innovative solutions to bring back to our community. Additionally, participating in these conferences fosters personal growth through exposure to diverse perspectives and ideals, helping council and members develop leadership skills and build confidence. Ultimately, this combination of professional and personal development leads to more informed decision-making and improved public service delivery. I urge other elected members to support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bill, seconding or?
Yes, I wish to second. Thank you, Mayor, and just very briefly thank Councillor Fisher for his words and reiterate the importance of us attending in any educational opportunities and opportunities to network with so many of our colleagues, particularly around the country. As you may have read, obviously, in the paper, there's a number of exciting subjects that we're all really engaged with and care about and want to advocate for our communities. And that includes financial sustainability issues, roads and infrastructure, emergency management and climate action, jobs and skills for the organisations, for the councils, housing and homelessness, closing the gap, initiatives, data, digital technology, and the environment, and of course the circular economy. I would recommend that people attend the meeting as I did last year. It was an incredible, inspiring event to attend and certainly highly recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I certainly won't be supporting it. The Mayor goes and the CEO goes. There was opportunities for elected members to attend the Local Government Association of South Australia meetings and interact with their cohorts in other councils, and we can do that for no cost. We made some decisions in this current budget. We decided that the free monthly drop-off of green waste was not going to occur. We stopped community grants for this period. This is the time that we, as an elected body, need to stand up and show that we were fair dinkum in those decisions and we're not going to get on the gravy train. So I certainly won't be supporting it and I will be calling a division. Thank you.
Councillor June.
I am in support of this for two reasons. One is our community plan talks about leadership. We are all residents of the city of Onkaparinga and we've been given the role by our fellow residents to make good, solid, sound decisions on their behalf. And with that, I can't think investments required in us. I think that we need to get out of our bubble, which is also within our state, and think more broadly around the nation and the country. We haven't been visible nationally from an elected member perspective for a long time. And I think that, as the Mayor touched on, I recall when she came back last year, there was quite a large presence of other councils at the national conference. And again, we only had the Mayor and the CEO and Councillor Bell representing us. We know that it's coming into a federal election and we want a seat at the table. And I think that only comes with visibility. While the National General Meeting is occurring, outside and beyond that is also being strategic and meeting with ministers while they're in town, meeting with all parties. It's an opportunity for us to show the nation what we're also actually prioritising as a city as well, and seeing opportunities for relationship, and also to bring back those great ideas to our local area. So I think it's, again, about leadership. Our community plan talks about that, so it's very much the core of our work for the next 10 years. And I think that this is an opportunity for all of us, and so I will definitely be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Yeomans.
Yeah, thanks. Just a quick debate, if I can. Sure. I'm sort of with Councillor Eaton on this. I'm not really comfortable about going down this path. We have made some really, really tough decisions. I think we've presented ourselves as a financially responsible chamber. And I think we're potentially sending the wrong message when we're, in one hand, saying we're going to charge you a bit more money for doing this, and we're going to take these services away because we can reduce our expenditure by doing that. And then at the same time, for personal development reasons, spend 3 or 4 grand per elected member, and as council official mentioned, up to 3. That's a fair whack out of the budget, albeit into context, it's not a lot of money. Having said that, it's not a lot of money when we start charging people extra money for for trailers and of green waste and that, but we needed to do that to try and get some sort of budget repair in place. I'm more than comfortable, for the reasons that those have supporting this, that we're going to get that value out of our CEO and our mayor representing this city to that point. I think we were voted, and we're here to represent the ratepayers who voted us to stand on the issues and vote for the issues and to support them in their quest for whatever concerns they've got in their particular wards. I doubt many were voting for us so we can actually spend some money on some personal development. I don't think that's what they would want us to be doing. Again, I just think it's sending the wrong message, and it can really unravel some credibility that I think this chamber has started to build slowly. We're getting some momentum, and the messages out there that we are really into fixing these budgets and trying to reduce some debt. And I think going on some sort of personal development crusade for our own benefit, I do think that's going to undo some of that credibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Greaves.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm actually rising to support this motion, although I'd really appreciate if the mover and the seconder would consider a slight change to wording about up to 3 elected members, but I'll leave that there. A couple of words have been thrown around tonight about, this being a bit of a gravy train, not being financially responsible, all about personal development. And I think that some of that is a long way from the truth. Organisations that don't invest in professional development are putting the organisation's employees or elected members, as we are, at a bit of a disadvantage. Now, I've actually been the beneficiary of going along to a couple of local government association events in Canberra. And it is so much more than just a bit of a junket. Yes, there are opportunities for personal growth. There are opportunities for professional growth, for networking, all of those sorts of things. But essentially at the heart of it is about being able to be a more effective elected member representing the people who reside in the city of Onkaparinga. And a couple of ways that we can do that, and they have been mentioned, is around our visibility. It's great. I absolutely hand on heart would say that the mayor and the CEO would represent our interests well. But it is about visibility. We're talking about hundreds of people attending these events, and I certainly can't think that they can talk to everyone, but it is about actually ensuring that Onkaparinga actually has a presence there. It is, particularly in an election year, about some of that advocacy. And I have very clear memories of one of the former mayors and a little posse of elected members literally chasing down federal members and putting information in their hands around our advocacy plans about what we wanted from the federal government to support our communities. So it is, I think, an important thing. We have very deliberately got a budget set aside for this. And I think that we should be looking around the chamber and actually supporting all of our elected members, particularly a lot of the new elected members, to have the opportunity to actually go and actually be a part of something that's a bit bigger than what we have in this chamber, and also have an opportunity to be visible, to be vocal, and to represent all of the residents through better professional development.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dew, you have the call, but you can only ask a question.
I've got some questions.
Off you go.
I would like to know, beyond personal development, what opportunities are there?
Who are you addressing that question to?
Anyone who would like to answer.
Well, I'm very happy to answer that. And perhaps the CEO might, who's been to more of those than I have. I think that many of the points that you just heard from Councillor Greaves would apply to you answering that question. There's also, it's certainly the advocacy, certainly being involved in setting the national agenda, being able to lobby your peers to support motions that have come from your own chamber. So last year we had 3 motions that went through. They were all carried unanimously, and that was partly as a result of us being able to prosecute our case with our peers, which means that things that are outside of our jurisdiction locally have the opportunity to get onto a national agenda. I think that's very valuable. But I'm happy to invite the CEO if you'd like to have another thought that I haven't had.
Thank you, Councillor Drew. Through the Mayor, I guess elected members from a local government representative point of view, this is the Australian Local Government Association National General Assembly. So I think last year there was over 1,200 people that attended, the majority of which are elected members from across Australia. So certainly from a visibility perspective and representation, while the Mayor and I do the best we can for the community, there were a lot of councils there that were very well represented, and significantly more so than the City of Onkaparinga. Having said that, obviously hear what some of the elected members have said, and we've come through a period of having made some difficult decisions, but appropriate for the community. But in terms of an event for elected members, this is the event nationally that a lot of elected members in all jurisdictions would be focused on as a development.
Thank you. Did you have another question?
As Councillor Greaves highlighted that there's money already allocated, but the approximate $4,000 per person that this equates to, what percentage of our actual budget as an organisation is it?
We might need to take that on notice.
It doesn't need to be approximate. It's like 0.00 something.
It will be in that.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm very happy if anyone who's got their calculator, and I'm looking at senior staff over there, they may be able to provide that to you offline after the meeting. Councillor Davis.
Dr. Fisher? No.
No, you're right.
This one has been rattling around in my brain since I read it. And I appreciate Maurice's comment about how fabulous it was. And I do appreciate professional development. I think it's very important. I actually think it's just a timing thing. I think I'd be comfortable with getting some runs on the board with the long-term financial plan, getting some more good news out there about what we are doing to save money before we go and spend it. I think we're just maybe jumping the gun a little bit. I think I'd be more comfortable saying no this time and looking at it again in 12 months, because I do think it's valuable, but I think it's important that we have the right optics for what we're spending money on at the moment.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. A question or debate?
Debate.
Go ahead.
I think I was going to be along the lines of Councillor Davis, which is around the timing. The points that have been raised in support of it, I completely agree with. The points that have been raised against it, I probably feel slightly stronger towards at the moment. I certainly understand the idea of this is the local government, the AMU, the Australian version, everyone gets to go across, it's for elected members, but it's a challenge when you're asking your community to send your elected members to it. And I think we should start local, which is, we need to continue to do what we're doing here. Then we need to potentially go and have a greater representation at the state-based one, and then look to how we prosecute in the Australian-wide one. But I don't think we're, as a chamber, ready to do that. I understand that our cycle's not that long, and so we may never be ready for it, but that's just probably the strength of my conversation at the moment.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Platten.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question. Given that we've put down 3 elected members to go, 4 with the Mayor, do we currently have the budget to send those elected members?
I might just check. The answer is that's yes.
And it's through me.
Yes, through this side.
Through you, Mayor. Look, we are running a bit light on the 24-25 budget, but the actual costings for this, as it says in the report, will probably lay out in the 25-26 budget.
Okay.
Sorry. Apologies to everyone on the front row here. Did you have another question or do you wish to debate?
Super happy to debate.
Go ahead.
I think everyone knows where I was previously on this, and this to me is a head and heart battle. I have very, very strong feelings about what it looks like to the general public to send elected members to professional development things, local government association meetings. Personally, my heart says, yeah, absolutely, 100% go for it. But there's this part of me, this niggling part, that absolutely agrees with things that Councillor Eaton, Councillor Davis, Councillor Pritchard have said, which we have gone above and beyond with our budget. We've done things that certainly not popular to try and claw back some money. And while this is only a very small percentage of the grand budget, it's not how much money it is, it's what it looks like. And for me personally, I have to stick with that. And I have to know, I have no issue with elected members going, but for me, it's the budgetary side of it. And so professional development I'm up for in this circumstance, given that I know exactly what the public will think. It's the pub test for me. And I have great concerns about it. So that's where I sit.
Thank you. Councillor Camilla-Lotus.
Yes, thank you.
Question or debate as well.
Okay, thank you. Look, I know a lot of the commentary has already been said, and I'm sort of, with my councillor to my right here, Councillor Platten, and some of the comments that have been said. However, I just want to put this, I think what's happened is we've basically gone from 0 to 3 councillors quite quickly, and that can be a bit shocking. So 3 was probably not the number I would have gone with. However, I just want to just throw something in the middle there for elected members to think about. So, and a federal election can be called any time. And if we choose to send even one elected member to support the mayor and the CEO next time, it's too late. It actually means nothing. That's actually a waste of money. So if we have any belief in our advocacy plan, and we believe even sending one elected member with the mayor to go gang up on those federal members, because this is going to be, it's actually quite a crucial election. And there could be, there's going to be independents in the mix. So it's going to be, you have to play all sides here. This is the time where you actually send someone, if you're being very strategic. Next time round is a wasted loss of an opportunity.
Quiet, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
So sorry, just to throw that in there. So I would have felt comfortable with sending at least one. I know that may not be the favourable thing to do. Is this going to save the budget? No. I hope those elected members who are all about budget, make a lot of other tough decisions on across the board with a load of other things that will actually make a huge dent. But in terms of if we just focus on advocacy plan, if we were even to send one elected member, now is the time to pull that trigger and do it, or you're waiting another 3+ years and we are set behind trying to catch up to other councils who are seeing this as the prime opportunity.
Thank you. Councillor Eaton, you can ask a question.
Yes, I'm just wondering whether there's any conflicts of interest for people voting on this because they're going to get a benefit from it. And I think that should be taken into account.
Councillor,
I will be clearing the division.
Thank you, Councillor. Just to remind people that if you have a conflict of interest, you are fully aware that I just don't think it's appropriate. Yes, go ahead.
Member behaviour, you can't really threaten the chamber that you're going to do something. This is a professional chamber. So can I just bring that as a point of order?
Thank you for doing that, and I appreciate your attention to the legislation and to procedural matters. And also just to remind the chamber that the time for declaring what you do comes in the vote, and that is the place, if you have already had an opportunity to speak, that moment has now passed. Councillor, I'm just checking, are there any further speakers? Back to you, Councillor Fisher. Do you wish to close debate, or did you have a question as well?
Close debate. Thank you very much,
and councillors for your opinion as well. Councillor Graves spoke about up to 3. In case it was lost in translation, that was what I was implying. So it doesn't have to be 3 to go every time, but up to 3. I understand the councillor's views in relation to budget. However, I remember the decision that we didn't make last year when we didn't support Councillor Bell going across, and she ended up self-funding. Given that situation, if I was to apply and go this year, I would self-fund if it's not authorised or approved by this particular chamber. But for everything I said in relation to the benefits of attending, personal development is part of it, but the bigger, greater picture is about networking and actually getting our face out there to the national community. And we heard the benefits from Councillor Beryl, the CEO and the Mayor in relation to how you're able to do things. So I honestly think and hope that you support the motion. As I said, it's not easy to fall on a budget-based decision, but I think as it's been highlighted, there is money in the budget for this, and next year is going to be too late. Thank you.
I just need to confirm with the seconder, are you willing to agree to the up to? Thank you very much. And just to remind everyone that behaviour that is outside of our guidelines will be managed in the appropriate ways in those other forums that we have available to us, including conflicts of interest. So just to remind everyone, tonight what we're doing is we're doing up to 3 individuals have not been named, as you would have seen from the documentation prepared by the administration under section 7 at page 971. That you'll have an opportunity for an expression of interest, and for those people who may or feel that they have a conflict of interest would need to declare at that time, and also to remind us that they may decide not to be in that group. But I will now put the motion. All those in favour? And all those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that motion is lost. Thank you. Item number 9.5, which is the Crown confidential orders. Do we have a mover for this motion, please? Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'm happy to move as written. A comprehensive document, and it covers everything that needs to be covered. Thank you.
And Councillor Greaves.
Second, thank you.
Any speakers? Councillor Eaton, just to close. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Just remind everyone you do have to vote. So I'm just going to put that again. All those in favour? Against? You 4 in favour. Thank you. Carried. This is quite, even though that was a simple thing to do, it's quite substantial, the number of items, and it's been a big piece of work for staff to get to this point. So I really want to thank them for that. It's also a sign that they can get on with their job while not having to deal with other things that perhaps might distract them. Item 9.6 is the Council and Committee. Councillor Themialotis.
I'm just happy to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis.
Happy to second, and I thought it was fabulous to know in advance what we'll be doing.
It's a good thing. Councillor Themialotis, just to close. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. We have 4 questions on notice, and I do want to acknowledge someone in the gallery this evening who has an interest in 9.1. The answers to these questions will be available in the minutes, and also have been provided to all elected members as well. And so thank you everyone for the work on that. We're now going to move into confidence. As you would know, the 2 motions on notice were withdrawn. Just bringing that to your attention in case you have missed that. We have no petitions and no urgent business, do we? No? Okay, well then we'll now move into confidentiality, which will mean that it's time for people to leave the chamber. who do not need to be here. Do I have a mover for councillor Eaton?
Yes, I'll make it. Thank you.
Seconder? Councillor Platten?
Happy to second.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against? Moved. Thank you very much. Lovely.